It is truly an honor to be here today on Martin Luther King Day too. And given what's in front of us and the culture that I know is about to be built at the University of Louisiana Monroe, on this very day, I want to mention that maybe one of the greatest quotes from Martin Luther King was, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but in time it bends towards justice." The moral universe of ULM athletics is going to get a lot stronger, and its foundation will be a lot greater, and its future so much brighter with a culture built from someone that comes from the first family of coaching in college football. And that is what we're embarking upon. Someone that was here in the 70s, as I was, can recall when John David Crow was hired to be the head football coach. Bear Bryant's only Heisman Trophy winner. My relationship with John David Crow was incredibly strong for a couple of reasons. I got to know him very well as a broadcaster later on. He had no idea who I was in the 70s, but he knew who my father was, because before I was born, my father was writing for the Shreveport Times before he helped put a couple of television stations on the air in the mid-1950s. But in the early 50s, John David, playing at tiny Spring Hill High School, could barely make All-State. And I'll never forget him telling me, with that deep, resonant voice of his that sounded a lot like the Bear, he said, "You know, your daddy helped me make All-State. I might be the only Heisman Trophy winner that barely made All-State." Back in those days in Louisiana, there was no I-49. So if you were playing in a tiny town in North Louisiana, to get the attention of the big newspapers in South Louisiana was tough. It's true, he barely made All-State. But without John David Crow coming to, at that time, Northeast Louisiana University, I talked with Coach Collins, who I see is here today, and I said, "Coach, I'm going to ask you this because I believe it. I believe it in my heart, but you're the only one that can give me the answer. That Stan Humphries-led national championship at the Division I AA level doesn't happen with you as head coach were it not for John David Crow galvanizing the community of, at that time, Northeast Louisiana University." And Coach, what'd you say? But what'd you say? Yeah, right? Would not have happened. Would not. John David Crow helped the university galvanize, and he gave it a culture that would allow Pat Collins later on to take it to a level that was unforeseen at that time. And I wanted to run that by you today before I got up here. I don't think we're talking generations ago, not a generation, but generations ago, okay? Today is an incredible day in the history of ULM athletics. We have people that are my age and younger that are still fighting with the notion that we're ULM, that we're Northeast. Those days are gone. The championship remains. Your foundation, what Coach Collins did, is great. You're swimming in a new pool. You're playing at the Division I level. You got to think bigger. You got to think larger, maybe even a little bit outside the box. For the very first time in a long, long while, someone from the institution actually reached out and wanted my thoughts on where we would go with the next hire. And I want to thank Scott McDonald, the athletic director, who's here today, who, along with President Barry, who's also here today, helped make this day happen. How about a round of applause for the administration of ULM? Listen, I'm in the observation business of sports television. And when it comes to my school, and this is my school, I was working hard at being a broadcaster while I was here, and I left here soon because earlier than I maybe should have, but it worked out. But it's still my school. And I've always felt like there was a chance that ULM could be great, as it was under you, Coach Collins, and could take it to a national championship level at that time. Now, with the guidance of this leadership, I think success and what defines success is finally being addressed. And here today on ULMWarhawks.com, and we're happy you're with us streaming, I want you to understand, those of you that are watching from a distance today, as we are sitting here distanced in this magnificent room that's been built just within the last few years, this coach, this staff, this program will be right there with you in the community. They're going to be reaching out, pressing the flesh, and saying, believe in us. We're going to not just rally alumni, we're going to rally an entire community. Monroe is a vibrant town. It's a town that's got some serious advantages over programs within the same conference that this team must compete in. Got to tap into that. That's what this program is going to do. And I know that because I know the people involved. You're not just hiring Terry Bowden as your head coach. You're hiring Terry Bowden's family, the Bowden family. I mentioned first family in college football coaching. The only family in college football history to have 3 people go undefeated in college football as a head coach. It starts with St. Bobby, who we're happy to say is here today, the one and only Hall of Famer Bobby Bowden. Oh, by the way, you might want to keep standing because his boss is with him, Miss Ann Bowden, ladies and gentlemen. And I said this to him earlier today, and I really believe it. It was one of the greatest coaching jobs in the history of our state when Tommy Bowden, with the help of a coordinator named Rich Rodriguez, took Tulane to an undefeated season. Tommy Bowden is also here, former head coach of Clemson. Hey, we just had more up downs than any Bowden did in a practice. I've been close to the Bowden family since I was 23 years old. First time I interviewed Bobby Bowden, I was a Cub reporter at WIBR in Baton Rouge in 1979. He took an undefeated Florida State team into Tiger Stadium at 5-0 and won the game. And at the time, I think we all thought Bobby was going to coach at LSU. And he thought he might coach at LSU too until he won the game that day. And then he went on to create his own level of success and Hall of Fame career at Florida State, which is a part of college football lore we'll never forget. But when I talk about culture, that's what I'm talking about. It's about the Bowden family and the extended Bowden family. You know, Jimbo Fisher started for Terry, and with Bobby, Rich Rodriguez started, and here he is again. Rich Rodriguez, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about a National Coach of the Year as a head coach. I called his Pac-12 championship game in 2014 when he surprised everyone, beating Oregon earlier in the year and then facing him again. And lo and behold, here is Rich Rodriguez as offensive coordinator, getting a chance to coach with the Bowdens again. Rich, stand up. So I'm talking about getting the community involved, and I'm talking about getting more alums involved. And yes, it's not as if we have Brinks armored trucks to take care of the foundation physically of all of athletics at ULM, but we can grow it. It can be done. But in order for it to grow, you have to have a staff and a head coach that's reaching out saying, I hear you, I need you, we want you, come be a part of it. And I know that's what Terry will do. And I know that's where he sees ULM going. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce you formally, albeit with social distancing, to the new head football coach, and one that I believe will build a culture so strong that when he's done, you'll know who on his staff you want as your next head coach. Terry Bowden, ladies and gentlemen. Fancy meeting you here.
Fancy meeting you.
Listen, in the time that Coach Bowden, Terry did not coach, he meandered into our business, into television. He worked with my best friend at the time, John Saunders, the late, great John Saunders of ESPN and ABC fame. He also did a radio show with me called Conference Call back in the day that we did on a daily basis. And people asked me about my old radio show that was televised. It wouldn't have happened without Terry and I doing that show. So we became fast friends during that period. I had no idea that one day I would be sitting here with you at the place where I went to school and we'd be talking about you're taking over this job. Take us through how this happened.
Well, it really kind of began about 5 years ago after the 2015 season with a contingent of folks here came up to visit me about the job. And I was at Akron and we'd had a successful year, and some boosters and some administration came and visited with me. Dr. Barry, I think if you'd have been on that plane, I'd probably been here then. But we came and talked about this program. But I fell in love with so a couple of the boosters are pretty gung-ho on this program.
They
a couple
are.
of them, y'all know who you are. I don't want to mention someone without not mentioning somebody else. But really gave me an idea of what the history of this program was and what some of the people were, what they wanted to accomplish. And it didn't work out at that point in time. And I thought Matt did a great job of getting this program as far as he can get, and came so close to getting where it went to. But this year I got another call from a group here, and it's like it just brought all that back. And it seemed like now at this point in my career, I've let with my dad never retiring. He coached till he was 81. There's not a lot of records I could go for in my life. I'm a distant second or third best in my own family, so there's some humility involved there. But what I've been blessed with is being a turnaround guy. Everywhere I've gone, they've been down and come back, whether it was Auburn with 2 losing seasons in a row, or Sanford with 3 wins in 3 years, or Salem with one tie, or Akron with the 111. And so I've kind of gotten experience in being a turnaround coach, going somewhere where a program needs to get from losing to winning, or somewhere to somewhere else, from the outhouse to the penthouse. And that's kind of where I thought right at this point in time ULM needed, and that's what I have done. And so it led me to the place that I felt like this is where my talents can be utilized best. And I think, and it's a perfect marriage, I believe.
Bobby once said, and it was in an article that was about Rich and Deadspin. And by the way, I urge all of you, even if you don't go on the internet very much, okay? Just Google ULM football right now. Just Google it and search and see how this hire is resonating throughout the rest of the country. It's absolutely off the charts. There was an article written really about Rich, and it was one of those articles you could tell the guy that wrote it didn't really have a relationship or connection. It wasn't one of those cut and paste, hey, there's a feel-good thing going on. It was more about, hey, how did Rich wind up where he is at ULM? And going back and looking at the career and where he's going to be and why he's doing what he's doing. And it was, to me, I took away from it, here's a fair, objective, no holes barred look at what is great about about being in a profession where at some point you can give back. And I know that's where Rich is, and that's where you are. Yeah. And I'd love for you to address that, because to me, it's the most magnetic thing about what's going on right now. You guys have a job to do, and we'll see how it all works out. But right now, this buzz that's coming from all across college football circles and media, I thought that one really touched me, and I know it was something you thought in your mind when you came, maybe I can get Rich to come. Yeah. And boy, oh boy, it worked out.
Well, and it wasn't like you thought that's where it might go. Rich can tell you, it was his son entered the portal to play football somewhere else. He's got to graduate. He's graduated with 2 years of eligibility from Arizona. I saw the name in the portal. I texted Rich, and what about? He said, well, he's looking to go somewhere. And I made the little quick text back, does he come with an offensive coordinator? And Rich just said something like, well, it's interesting. But as we talked, and you got to know Rich and our background. When you were interviewing my dad at 79, Tommy and I were graduate assistants. My brother Jeff was a walk-on. Probably the greatest days of my life with that undefeated year when all four of us were on the same staff together and team together. When our family began to come together in this profession.
Went to that first Orange Bowl.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's when that. But Rich was talking about what he was planning on doing. I said, you know what? You've won so many games and been so many places. And you're going to be there again, but you'll never have a chance to coach your son. And it doesn't mean he's a starter. You just coach your son. I was a walk-on. I never got past the walk-on stage and scout team when I played at West Virginia. But I think of all things, you got to know Rich and his wife Rita and Raquel, and that's a family. They're a family like we are. They love each other and they care for each other. And that kind of touches you when you talk about stuff like that. And so that's kind of really what it got. I'm not sure you could have hired Rich as your head coach when it came along, but you hired somebody to coach his son. And that's a family thing that we Bowden's kind of always felt a part of, is working together. So that's kind of how it began and kind of how we got here. I've kind of gone from saying I'm going to fiddle around with the offense to I'm going to fiddle around being a recruiting guy and let Rich have that offense, and so I can go with some football players. That's kind of how it began. I didn't even mention that when his wife Rita was at Fairmont State College, she was a cheerleader. And my sister Robin, who was the head cheerleader at West Virginia, had gone to Fairmont State to teach physical education. She was the cheerleading instructor. And one of her cheerleaders was Rita before he had never met her, was his wife of all these years. And so the families do go back a long way.
The conversations with Scott and with President Berry, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that as the process got going. And I can tell you, because for those of us that were in your corner, we got more calls from you than we did them, but we did get calls from them too. So I want to know, what was that like?
Well, I mean, first of all, how do you get here? Well, there's only 127 Division I jobs in America. And this year with the COVID, you might have 15 or 10 come available maybe. Yep. So and I felt like this is a point in time. I had 2 paid years at Clemson by Akron. So I was paid, and I was going to get out and go somewhere, and so didn't know where it would lead. Yeah. And again, I got a call from Scott, and I think he was just feeling me out, and we had a good long talk on the phone. But we had a conference championship to play at Clemson. We don't talk about jobs before. Right. There, you better win your conference. That's done 6 straight years. Nobody's ever done it. Not even that guy at ACC got that many in a row, but he got a lot of them. But we were going after number 6, and I had said, please don't call. Let's don't talk about it till after that game. And I believe you interviewed some people, and you kept going. And I said, you know what? I probably blew it. I probably got out there, and funny thing happened. I'm on the field in Charlotte, and I get a text. Now, I'll tell them the truth now. It was before the game, not after the game. I get a text while I'm on the field, would you mind talking to us tomorrow? Now, I wish I could have told my other coaches that, because you knew we were going to win, because you would never have done that if you didn't know we were going to win. We won big, and then we called, and I talked to Dr. Berry the next day, and that's kind of how we got started. And I think it's something that we're going to take here, wherever, that we had a season to play and games to win. And at Clemson, you focus on what's best for the team, and those things will come when the times come. But from that point on, we talked, and I got excited, and they got excited. We had some great people getting in, and it led to that. And we decided to coach here, so it's kind of all happened from that point.
A lot of times when you carry the name Bowden, okay, and I'm a second-generation broadcaster. I think the name of the book that Schleybaugh worked with you on was called Calling to Coach.
Mark Schleybaugh.
Yeah, Mark Schleybaugh. Call to Coach. So I know as a family, Tommy felt called to coach. You felt, man got his law degree. Miss Ann thought, finally, we got an attorney. We're not going to have to worry about a coach. She knew that you were going to be the next great trial attorney. But no, you were called to coach too. Do you sense, because when you got the Auburn job, I'm going back to the 90s now, people thought, oh, young guy, whippersnapper, carries the right name. Yeah, you went out and won your first 20 games. Okay. Well, then there was some major credibility that comes with that. But then the business end of what happens in coaching happens. And now, when you were hired there, it was like, well, he's so young. And now you're so old.
That's right. True story.
You're so old now, you know.
When Tommy and I were coaching, even together at Auburn, and when he was at Clemson or at Tulane, we would get on the recruiting trails against my father, and he was on a real roll from '87 to 2000, winning, I think, 14 straight top 4 finishes at Florida State and a couple
Only
of
time it's ever happened in college football history.
And
Never finished lower than 5 in the AP poll for 14 years.
And I think Tommy did it worse than me, because you'd have to know Tommy, saying to a recruit, why would you go to Florida State? You're going to graduate, you're going to need a job, and you're going to want to walk in that head coach's office, and he'll be out playing golf. He'll probably be retired. You won't be able to find him unless you find a golf course. He's not going to be able to help you in the rest of your life. How old he is. And he told that to a coach, someone recruiting, and my dad was up there recruiting the same guy the next day, and he said, I heard what Tommy and Terry said about me. He said, let me tell you something, young man. He says, I'll be at Florida State longer than he's at Auburn. He beat me by about 25 years.
Had that right.
He beat me by 25 years.
You had that right. You had that right. Well, he told me a long time ago that you were more addicted to this than Tommy ever was, and that Jeff ever was, that you were addicted to it, that at some point you had to come back, that you had to get involved. And again, a quick little inside story. I think it was 2 years ago, you were supposed to open your season at Nebraska.
Yeah.
3 seasons ago. And you were supposed to open your season at Nebraska. We had the kickoff. Scott Frost brings his team out for the first time, and then this huge thunderstorm hits. We never had another down, didn't get the game in. But just seeing you that day, and I was inspired to call your dad before the game, and we started talking about all kinds of things. And he did. He said, as only Bobby could say it. He was like, well, Terry he's been seduced. He's been seduced by football. And he said, all that time that he was on the air with you and John Saunders, he was seduced. It was killing him. I know you do, because we're the same age. We're both 64, and I feel 44. I know you feel 44. Your engine, your motor is still there.
Yeah.
Did you were seduced by football, weren't you?
I've always loved football. I think when I got out after Auburn, I went through a difficult time from Auburn. That was a lot of things. I know John Lewandowski's here. He was there during those times, and me and the president and the AD all resigned and left there at that point. But I think I disillusioned a little bit about college football. That you think it's all about winning and losing. Sometimes it's about other things at times, and you learn that's part of politics and part of life. But I got into television. And people say, why'd you stay out 10 years? When you go to New York City and you work in Times Square on the booth with John Saunders, and you never lose, you're undefeated, you go to the championship every year, and you're always right. I mean, where's the downside to that job?
Your Q rating slowly goes up. Yeah.
But I kind of said, you know, this is not the way I wanted to finish, and I had done it for so long. I was around football, and I was not a spokesperson for Auburn or for a ULM, but I was kind of a spokesperson for college football. I felt that would fulfill me. But you get on the other side of that camera as a coach for so long, and you long to be back on that field. And I think the greatest thing is, because I had 15 years as a head coach, and now I've been 10 years since I've come back, is that the same drives that you have of always wanting to be somewhere else as fast as you can be, get that job win so you can get to the next place, next place. Sometimes you lose the effect, the value of what you're doing.
Right.
You're not so much that you don't care about young people. You do, and you care about them, but you're also trying to say, well, how quick can I win and get that next job? And I'm finally at a point now in my life where can I go somewhere and be of value to that program and we can win and take this program back to where y'all have been before and quit just repeating the same thing over and over again by not being totally involved and committed. And this, and folks, this isn't rocket science. This is football, and we're not the only team that does it. We're not the only university that has it. We're not even the only university that has it in the state or at this level. And there are keys that you've got to do to be successful. And it starts by everybody being together. We're talking about MLK Day. We're talking about America or people coming together. We need to come together if we're going to win. I mean, our staff, our administration, our faculty, our students, our community, and our former players and our alumni. We've got to come together. Everybody says we got, and we got to do our part. It takes money. That's not easy to come by, and you've got to be willing to step up to the plate and do what you can, just as other people do, not above and beyond as others to do.
Right.
And that's what we got to do. And then it's up to us to win. That's always the case. You got to win. You got to win, but it comes by all of us together, and not just money, but support and pulling together and caring for each other and all those things that you got to do. I'm just saying it takes effort in every way. If football wasn't important in college football, you wouldn't have football at MIT or Duke or Stanford. If it was just about blocking and tackling, we wouldn't have it though. But it's important to me. I think it's important for the way of a campus is, the life of a campus, and then two, all those alumni that you want to come back and build your science buildings and your chemistry buildings, they come back for homecoming. That's what they come back for, and it brings those people here. And there's a greater mission than just playing ball.
Yeah.
There's a greater mission that every university in America has, and that's what we need to do. Go back and do here and be a part of this school and this community.
You're getting ready to roll. I'm going to step aside and allow you to introduce everyone, your staff. I know you're proud of what you've been able to accomplish. We've already touched on Rich Rod, but there are more, I mean, big time. It's a vibrant staff. It's got some experience on your end. I think you balanced out the age demographics with some of the hires you made to help you and Rich out, which is good. But as I do step aside, I want to mention this because I think it's worthy. Matt Viador did a really good job. He did. He got better players to come to ULM. Matt, just like those that preceded him, had a ceiling for success. And I think today, what the university has said and the commitment that it's making to you and this staff and to the players is that we are redefining what success is and where that ceiling should be. And with that, I'm going to step aside and let you take over, Coach.
Okay, I'm going to do is, I think the way the instructions go, John, I'm going to introduce my coordinators and let them introduce their staff as they come through. Now, we have a couple of coaches, one that's on his way in. You understand we have HR and all that, somebody that's being interviewed. They may be on campus. They're not part of this official group yet. And another that's coming in later this week. But I think everybody else is on board. But I think we're just going to announce our assistant coaches.
The coordinators will come up, and each coach will come up.
Why don't we start with Rich? Rich, why don't you come up and introduce the offensive coaches that are here, and you can introduce them and say hello and tell them where you come from, and then I'll get Zach, and then I'll get Ron West, our special teams at the final.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Appreciate everybody being here, socially distanced. By the way, I think Timmy B is a Hall of Fame broadcaster. So you guys appreciate him all the way back. He plays a little golf, so he's giving me 5 aside. I already know that, so I can't wait to do that. But it's an honor to be here. I'm going to talk real quick, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention how important the Bowden family has been to me throughout my career. I got a chance to start working with Coach Bowden and Tommy and Terry back in the early 90s, 30 years ago, when they had the Bowden Passing Academy. And they had it at first at Auburn, and Jimbo Fisher was a friend of mine. And I remember the first time I met Coach Bowden, I was introduced, I think Tommy or Terry introduced me to Big Coach Bowden. He said, "This is Rich Rodriguez, blah, blah, blah." And he's the youngest college head coach in America. He's 26 years old at Glenville State. And Coach Bowden, I can remember, he said, "Well, that's nice, but the key is not to be the youngest, but be the oldest head coach in America." And so, been through that a little bit, and so I've known Terry for so long, and obviously Coach Bowden, who's a Hall of Famer. I have a great debt of gratitude to Tommy Bowden, who really helped me launch, I guess, into the higher levels of football, and I think he's a Hall of Fame coach. I don't think enough people mention that, what he did at Tulane and Clemson. And I think the guy that I'm with right now, Terry Bowden, should be a Hall of Fame football coach. And hopefully with you all's help, we can help him get there.
I'll go for that.
So anyway, it's an honor to be here. I'm obviously excited about my son as well. I get an opportunity to coach him again. And my wife, Rita, my daughter, Raquel, who's doing podcasts. We're going to keep doing that and hopefully bring some positive attention. My 2 little puppies, believe it or not, Tommy, I've never had pets till 5 years ago. Now I have 2 little Pomeranians that decide everything for me. So I'm anxious to bring my family out and embrace the community and help Terry. And I'm honored that he asked me to come help with this program, and it's going to be a lot of fun. And a lot of young coaches. I'm really excited about the staff. I get reunited with an old friend, Ron West, who was with us at Tulane and Clemson. He's a great football coach. A lot of fun, and I just appreciate everybody welcoming us. So if my offensive staff would come on, introduce yourself, where you're from, and what you're going to be doing. Again, as Coach Bowden said, we've got a couple more coaches coming on board within the week, and you'll get a chance to meet them. But I want to say publicly thank you to Terry Bowden. I know he wanted my son first, and I understand that, but I get a chance to do that as come here and try to help us win a lot of games and have some fun. So I appreciate it. Come on, Matt.
Hey, I'm Maverick Morris. I'm going to be coaching the offensive line. I spent the last 8 years at Clemson, and I can't wait to get this thing rolling.
Hey, Maverick, tell my mother what hospital you were born in.
Coffee County Regional Medical Center.
Same hospital I was born in 1956. I didn't realize that, so just wanted you to know that, Mama. He's from the same town.
Rod McDowell from Sumter, South Carolina. Played with Maverick, recruited by Tommy at Clemson. I'll be coaching running backs. I'm blessed to be here, and just know we war ready.
Hey, y'all, my name is Zach Alley. I'm the defense coordinator here. I know Rich Rod was the youngest head coach. You've probably seen I was the youngest defense coordinator in the country. And I've only been mistaken for a player at least 3 times so far. Even the players are coming up like, hey, man, what position you play? And I'm like, nah, guys, I'm your defense coordinator. I know I look young, but I'm actually, this will be my 10th season, in coaching this year. And I'm very thankful for Coach Bowden giving me the opportunity. I came from Boise State. I've been out there for 2 years with Coach Harsin, won a lot of games there, and then the Clemson connections there as well. I'd been a graduate student assistant for Coach Venables, Coach Sweeney at Clemson. Just the opportunity to come here to help build something, the chance to change the culture, to just lay the foundation for what we can do. I'm very excited and I'm very thankful to you, Scott, to you, Coach Bowden, for the opportunity to be here. And we got a great staff, and like he said, we balanced it out. Coach West has been coaching longer than I've been alive, so we're ready to roll. All right, when we get in there tomorrow. But if y'all would like to come up, introduce yourselves, Coach West and the rest of the defensive staff, that'd be awesome.
Hey everyone, I'm Xavier Brewer, originally from Jacksonville, Florida. Grew up idolizing Bobby Bowden. He didn't want me, so I went and played for Coach Tommy Bowden so I can go beat him every year. And then now I'm working for Terry Bowden, so Bowden family did a lot for me as well. Just wanted to say I'm excited about the opportunity to bring a championship expectation to ULM, both on and off the field, in the classroom, building men, and also building a championship team.
Hello, my name's Ron West. I'm very excited to be here. I guess the first time I met Tommy Bowden was in 1979 at East Carolina. And me and my wife, Becky, we were actually coaching there. And I wound up going to North Texas, and he wound up going to Auburn. And Linda and Becky got along then. So maybe them getting along helped me later on because I guess we had an opportunity. I was at Baylor, and we had an opportunity to go to Tulane, so we went to Tulane in '97, and next thing you know, we we go undefeated. We had a quarterback and had a few good players, and next thing you know, we go 12-0, and then we go to Clemson. And so I worked with Tommy 12 years, and just the Bowden family and what they mean to college football and what they mean to, it's the values that they stand for more than anything. You know, doing things right, Christian values that are important in raising kids. And my family, you know, my son played college football, and my daughter, she was an athlete, and she got a degree at Clemson. So I mean, and they're both. I'm a grandfather now. I got a grandson and a granddaughter. So it's really exciting to come here. Spent 9 years coaching in this state, 7 in Lafayette as a coordinator on defense, which is a big rivalry for us, and then 2 at Tulane. So, but coming back to this state and know the heartbeat of this state. And one thing about this state, football's important, and the passion to winning is very important. And I know it is here. Thank you.
How y'all doing? I'm Willie Green. I'm working with the defensive tackles. Actually coming from Jacksonville State, and I actually played at the University of Florida. So, Coach, I appreciate you not holding that against me too badly. But it's really an honor for me to be here today. Coming from a place that, you know, we won a lot of ball games at, and I look forward to doing the same thing here. And I'm excited to be a Warhawk. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alonzo Hampton. I'm an assistant head coach, safeties coach. I'm from Warren, Arkansas. Team captain here at Northeast Louisiana from 1992 to 1997. I can't tell you how excited I am to be back home. I've had an opportunity to do a lot of great things, but this is probably the greatest moment of my life up until this point. I've had an opportunity to coach at Florida State. Coach Bowden, I got a picture. I was with Coach Taggart on that staff. Special teams coordinator, did not work out, but all the hard work that you put in, I know, just talking to Coach Odell Higgins, I asked him about Coach Bowden, and the words that he used to describe Coach Bowden, the family, I said, I got to work with those guys. So I'm excited to be here. And I know Coach Rome's in the back somewhere. I don't know who's more competitive, me or Coach Rome. I actually played receiver my first 2.5 years here. I couldn't catch the ball, but I could block. So he decided to move me to the defensive back position. But all jokes aside, I'm from Warren, Arkansas, hour and 40 minutes up the road. Education is the most important thing to me. When Coach Bowden called me and offered me this job, I was actually teaching exceptional student education. I decided to take the year off. I have a son that plays at Northwestern. They beat Auburn in the Citrus Bowl. And I decided the best thing for me to do this year was to be with my wife and kids. I had been at Oregon with Coach Taggart. I left my wife and kids behind. And I said, you know what? And always as coaches, we talk about being family. And so I decided to make that decision. My wife is still in Tallahassee. We just built a home there. And I just said, Lord, I'm going to do what you want me to do. And I was actually sitting on the couch. This job came open. And Coach Bowden, I applied for the head job. And I told Scott and I told Dr. Berry, you made the best hire you could make. And when Coach Bowden called me, I didn't tell him. Man, I shouted when I hung that phone up. Because when he asked me to be a part of his staff and he told me the things that he would like for me to be able to do and come back and give back to this university, I said, Coach, I'm all in. And so it means so much to me that he wanted me on his staff. And I know the people around this community, how important football is. And with your guys' support, I know we're going to get this program back to the days of old. And like someone said, we got to bridge the old to the new. And I'm glad Coach chose me to be that one to bridge NLU to ULM. And a lot of former teammates have been calling me. They're looking forward to coming back. And I also told them, not only come back, but we need you to give back. So glad to be back home, and go Warhawks.
Y'all come up here and get a line coming. Come on. Got to do a line. I guess line across. They get a picture of the staff together. They go come over here. Yes, sir. That'd be good. Move that back a little bit. While he's setting us up, folks, you know when we talk about giving back, buy season tickets. Go today or whenever that thing starts. Buy a set, buy 2, buy 4, buy 6. That's not a hard hit on the pocketbook. Let's start right there today, and let's get tickets to this football team.
Hey, can you come back? I just want to get a picture with these guys real quick.
Our leader.
Well, your first chair mouth. There you go. Man, I'm a lot. Awesome.
Put that on tweet.
Awesome. Good to see you, man. Great to see you. I just had your Boise State team in the Mountain West game. Great to see you, brother.
Thanks, my man.
Hampton, that was awesome. That was awesome.
That's why I hired him. He says thank you, man.
You got it.
On there.
Yeah, as we close this down, just to echo the point, and as I mentioned earlier, those of you watching on ULMWarhawks.com, these guys are going to be in the community. They're going to reach out. The culture's there. I think you've already seen, just listening and feeling the emotion, that when the time comes and there's another coaching search, you'll just have to go to the business office of the football program. That's where this program is going. Thank you all. Have a great afternoon. St. Bobby, and thank you. Let's hear it for the Warhawks.